For centuries, Nepal's entire story has been shaped by its geography. A small nation, totally landlocked between two of the world's biggest powers, India and China. But what if that same geography, which has always been seen as a huge limitation, could actually become its greatest strength? In this explainer, we're going to break down Nepal's incredibly audacious plan to pivot from being a geopolitical buffer to a geo-economic bridge.
I mean, just think about that image for a second, a yam between two boulders. This powerful metaphor was coined more than 240 years ago, and it's been the absolute cornerstone of the country's foreign policy ever since. It just perfectly captures that delicate, often risky balancing act of being squeezed between two giants. It really paints a picture of vulnerability, doesn't it? Of needing to be incredibly careful and neutral.
So what does being a yam between two boulders actually mean in political science terms? Well, it means you're a buffer state. And for Nepal, this has meant its entire foreign policy has been laser-focused on one thing, just surviving and preserving its independence. Every single decision has to be weighed against what India and China want, which, as you can imagine, really limits your options. But here's the fascinating part. Nepal wasn't always just a buffer. For hundreds of years, it was actually a bustling trade hub, a vital connection point between Tibet and India. That all started to change back in 1816. But the real blow came in 1904, when a new British trade route completely bypassed the country. And you can see all through the 20th century, Nepalese leaders were kind of pushing back, trying to shake off this buffer label and find a new identity. So, what's different now? Why is this whole conversation happening with such urgency? Well, the answer has nothing to do with politics or military strategy. It's all about an economic explosion that is happening right on Nepal's doorstep.
The huge shift here is from geopolitics to geoeconomics. We're talking about a world where trade relationships and economic power are becoming way more important than old-school military alliances. As India and China's economies have just skyrocketed, the relationship has had to evolve. And even with all the political tension, they are now massive trading partners. For Nepal, this is a total game changer. That old buffer mentality is fast becoming obsolete.
And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number, $100 billion. That was the trade target between India and China. This isn't just a little bit of commerce, it's like a massive river of economic energy flowing between Nepal's two neighbors. A river that, right now, has to take a really, really long and inefficient detour.
Now, what's absolutely wild is just how fast this all happened. We're looking at a 15-fold increase in trade in just one decade. And this incredible boom happened despite major logistical problems getting in the way, which, of course, raises a huge question. What could happen if you actually removed those problems?
And here they are, the big hurdles. The vast majority of stuff traded between China and India has to go by sea, a long, slow, expensive journey. The only land route, the Nathu Law Pass, is a logistical nightmare. It's super high up, it's often shut down by snow, and it's nowhere near India's main industrial hubs. This incredible inefficiency creates a massive opening for something better.
So, how does Nepal plan to jump on this opportunity? It all starts with a new national vision. A chance to fundamentally rewrite its story by turning its biggest geographical problem into a strategic advantage. The whole idea is to stop being a barrier and start being the connection. And this really gets to the heart of it, right? It's a tale of two totally different identities. Being a buffer state is passive. It's about things happening to you. But being a bridge state, that's active. It's a huge shift from a defensive political mindset to an opportunistic economic one. It's all about using your location to connect two of the world's most dynamic economies.
Now, to be fair, this vision isn't brand new. Past leaders have floated this idea of Nepal as a gateway before, but the economic conditions just weren't there yet. Now, with the explosive growth we just saw, the whole bridge concept has gone from being a nice diplomatic talking point to a serious, tangible economic plan. Its time might have finally arrived.
Okay, so if the big vision is to become a bridge, what does the blueprint actually look like? I mean, how do you physically connect two superpowers that are separated by the tallest mountain range on the planet? Well, it's going to take a monumental effort in both building stuff and in making policy.
This, right here, is the physical backbone of the entire plan. Not just one, but 8 potential north-south transit corridors. And these aren't just about paving some local roads. We're talking about incredibly ambitious projects designed to slice right through the Himalayas, connecting India's plains directly with the Tibetan Plateau. That Roxal-Rasua corridor, for instance, would be the shortest route, a brand new economic artery pumping right through the heart of the country.
But roads are really just the beginning. The real, absolute game changer is rail. China has been aggressively expanding its high-speed rail network into Tibet, and it's already getting very close to the Nepalese border. The ultimate dream is to extend that railway right through Nepal all the way to India, creating a seamless, high-volume trade route that would completely revolutionize how business is done in the region. Of course, a vision this grand doesn't just happen. It's not going to be easy. Forging a path between two giants is loaded with risk. It's going to require incredibly delicate diplomacy, massive amounts of money, and a stable political environment at home. The potential rewards are transformative, for sure, but the hurdles are just as huge.
Yeah, this isn't just an engineering problem. You're not just fighting mountains here. Internally, Nepal's own political instability is a huge barrier. And then externally, both India and China have very serious security concerns. You've got India, understandably worried about China's strategic influence right on its northern border. And then you have China, which is always incredibly sensitive about any activity related to the Free Tibet movement. Oh, and all of this requires billions of dollars that Nepal just doesn't have. So how do you even begin to navigate all of that? It's going to take a masterclass in diplomacy. The only real path forward is a trilateral one, getting all three countries on the same page. First, you have to tackle those security concerns head on. Second, you have to prove to everyone that there are mutual economic benefits, that everybody wins. This can't be about Nepal choosing a side. It's about convincing both of its powerful neighbors that a connected Nepal is actually in their own best interest. And this is why it's all worth it. If Nepal can somehow pull this off, the economic rewards would be absolutely staggering. We're not just talking about a little boost to the economy. We're talking about a complete transformation. A steady income from transit fees, a boom in tourism from both India and China, becoming a magnet for foreign investment, and all the new jobs and industries that would pop up along these corridors.
So we end up right back where we started, with geography. For centuries, being a yam between two boulders has defined Nepal's limits. The audacious plan now is to turn that very position, that perceived weakness, into the engine of its future prosperity. It is a high-stakes, all-in bet on a new identity, from buffer to bridge. And whether it succeeds is going to reshape not just Nepal, but the entire economic map of Asia.